Hey guys, this is MK's Neet Coaching Center. We conduct online live interactive classes for the Neet. And today we are gonna learn about the digestion and the absorption, which is a very important topic for the Neet. So minimum you will get 2 to 3 questions from this particular topic. So first of all, we know let's learn what is this digestion. Digestion is the process of conversion of the bio macromolecule into the simple, easily absorbable substance. Okay, so the digestive system was going to consist of the two main structure. One is the alimentary canal, so or it is also called as the gastrointestinal tract, and the next one it was going to have the associated glands. So what is this alimentary canal? It was going to start, or it was going to begin anterior with the anterior opening called as the mouth, and it was going to have a posterior opening through the anus. Okay, so the mouth was going to lead to the buccal cavity. The mouth was going to lead to the buccal cavity. The buccal cavity will lead to the pharynx. So what is the pharynx? So the pharynx is the common passage for the food and air. So it will divide into two tubes. So this posterior or the back tube is called as the food pipe. The front tube is called as the trachea, which is the windpipe, and there is a structure called as the epiglottis, which was going to close the trachea during the swallowing of the food. So therefore the food does not enter into this trachea. The food pipe, or it is also called as the esophagus, will lead to the J-shaped structure called as the stomach. The stomach will lead to the small intestine. So the small intestine was going to consist of the three parts. So the first part is the C-shaped structure called as the duodenum. The duodenum will lead to the next part of the small intestine, that is the jejunum. The jejunum will lead to the highly coiled structure called as the ileum. So the ileum, the last part of the small intestine, will join the large intestine. So the part of the large intestine where the ileum joins is called as the cecum. So cecum will continue upward as the ascending colon, then it will continue as the transverse colon, then it will continue as the descending colon, and it will continue as the rectum, and finally it will open out as the anus at the back or posteriorly. And there is a structure called as the vermiform appendix. So this is the small finger like a projection. This is the small finger like a projection which is seen on the cecum. So what is this? There is no function which is done by the appendix for the digestion. Therefore it is also called as the vestigial organ, which is nothing but a waste organ which doesn't have any role to play in the digestion. So next is the thecodont. So what do you mean by thecodont? It is the teeth is embedded into the socket of the jaw. So this type of the attachment is called as the thecodont. Next one is the diffeodont. Di is nothing but a two. So there are two types of the dentition which is seen during the life cycle of the human. So one is during the childhood, which they are going to have the temporary teeth or the decidual teeth. So this primary teeth or the primary dentition is replaced in the adult by the permanent teeth. So totally they have two types of the dentition or the two sets of a dentition in their life cycle. Therefore they are called as the diffeodont. Next one is the heterodont. So what do you mean by hetero is nothing but the different, odont is nothing but the teeth. So there are different types of teeth which is present in our mouth. So that is the incisor. So this is the incisor, and canine, this is premolar, and molar. So now we are going to learn about the dentition formula in a child. So what is the dentition formula for a child? It is a 2103 divided by 2103 multiplied by 2, so which will totally give rise to the 20 teeth in the childhood. Okay, so which is of the primary teeth which will be replaced by the permanent teeth. So what is the dental formula for an adult? It is a 2123 divided by 2123 multiplied by 2, which will totally give rise to 32. So this is one of your important need questions. So they might ask you what is the which is the teeth which is absent in the child means. So it is your premolar teeth is absent. So premolar teeth is not seen during the childhood. So next, so the esophagus. The esophagus will lead to the J-shaped structure called as the stomach. So there are three parts of the stomach. So one is the fundus, next one is the cardiac, next one is the pylorus. So the esophagus will join the stomach at the cardiac region. This can be your Neet question. Okay, so the esophagus will join the cardiac part of the stomach, and there are two sphincters. So the sphincters are nothing but the valve, which is the close and the open and the close mechanism. So the first valve is the which is present between the esophagus. So this is the esophagus, and this is the gastum. Gastum is also called the stomach. So that sphincter is called the gastroesophageal sphincter. So the name itself suggests. So it is present between the stomach and the esophagus. Next, the last part of the stomach is called the pyloric, and there is a sphincter over there. So therefore, it is called as the pyloric sphincter. So therefore, it suggests it's present at the end of the stomach. So the stomach will lead to the small intestine. As I've already told, there are three regions of the small intestine. So first it is the C-shaped duodenum. Then it will lead to the long coiled middle jejunum. Next, this is your previous year Neet question, that is highly coiled ileum. So they might ask you which of the following is a highly coiled structure in the GIT, that is gastrointestinal tract. So the highly coiled region is the ileum. So the ileum will join the cecum, which is of the larger intestine. So I have already told you the ileum was going to join the cecum, and there is a valve which is present. That valve is called as the ileocecal valve. So that valve is called as the ileocecal valve, which will prevent the entry, which will prevent the backflow of the food into the stomach or into the small intestine again. Okay. Okay. So this is the transfer session of the GIT, or it is also called as the gut. So wherever you cut them, so whether it could be the esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, rectum, anus, so you are going to look at this structure transversely. So there are going to be four layers. The outermost layer is called the serosa, next layer is called as the muscularis, next it is submucosa, and the last one is the mucosa. So lumen, so which was going to be present at the center. Lumen is nothing but the cavity. So what do you mean by cavity? Cavity is nothing but the space which is present. So the food that you are gonna eat was going to pass through this particular gap, that is called as the lumen. Okay, so the outermost layer is the serosa, the innermost layer is the mucosa. Okay, there is something called as a rugae. So the rugae is present in case of the stomach. It is the irregular folding, and in case of the small intestine, there is something called as a villi. So what do you mean by villi? It is the finger-like folding which is seen in the intestine, and the villi are not going to be present in case of stomach. So what is the folding? Irregular folding which is present in the stomach. It is rugae. It is in case of stomach, it is rugae. In case of small intestine, it is villi. And what is microvilli? Microvilli is nothing but the cell that lining the villi produces the numerous microscopic projection, that is called the microvilli, and that was going to give the brush border appearance. So who was going to give the brush border appearance to the small intestine? It is the microvilli. Then we have to learn about the villi. So this is the villi. So this is the villi. The villi is supplied by the capillaries and the lymph vessel, and there is a structure called as the lacteal. So what do you mean by a lacteal? Lacteal is nothing but the villi plus lymph vessel. So what do you mean by the lacteal? Lacteal are nothing but the villi along with the lymph vessels. Okay. And the mucosal epithelium was going to contain the goblet cell, which was going to secrete the mucus. So the mucus helps in the lubrication. So the lubrication is nothing but the easy movable. It was going to make them flexible, and it was going to protect the GIT from the various substances or the irritants. And there was going to be and there is a structure called as the crypts of Libercan. So what is this crypts of Libercan? So the crypts are present. So the crypts is nothing but a small gap which is present at the base. So this is called as the crypts. So the small gap which is present at the base of the villi is called of the intestine. Where you're gonna look at this crypts of lubricant, it is seen at the intestine, and there was going to be a cell which was going to line this crypts of lubricant. It is called the Paneth cell. So what is the function of this Paneth cell? It was going to secrete the lysozymes. Okay, next we are going to learn about the next part of the digestive system, that is this gland, the digestive gland. So there are three glands that you have to remember during the digestive gland. One is the salivary gland, liver, and the pancreas. These are the three major gland which is associated with the digestive gland. First we are going to learn about the salivary gland. What is the main function of the salivary gland? It was going to secrete the saliva into the buccal cavity or the oral cavity. So there are three pairs of salivary gland. So the first pair is the parotid gland, which was going to be present below the external air. Okay, the next one is the submaxillary, or it is also called the submandibular gland, which is present below the jaw. The last one is the sublingual. Lingual is nothing but the tongue, so therefore it is present below the tongue. Okay, the next liver is the largest gland which is present in the human body, which was going to weight around 1.2 to 1.5 kgs in the adult human. So which is situated in the abdominal cavity just below the diaphragm, and there are two lobes. So it is the right lobe and the left lobe. So the hepatic lobule is the structural and the functional unit of the liver. So this is your previous year NEET question. So the hepatic lobules are lined by the hepatic cell, which are arranged like the card like a structure. Okay, so which was going to have the card like structure. So this is the hepatic lobule which I'm going to draw. So this is the cord like arrangement of the cells in the hepatic lobules. So this is the microscopic structure, and this hepatic lobule was going to get surrounded by a connective tissue called as the Glissen's capsule. So this yellow color one which is I'm drawing now is the connective tissue which was going to surround the hepatic lobule called as the Glissen's capsule, which is an important question for the NEET. Okay, so then there is also a structure called as the gallbladder, which is attached to the liver, and the duct of the gallbladder is called as the cystic duct. The duct of gallbladder is called as the cystic duct. Now we are gonna learn about the structure of the liver. So as I've already told, there was going to be two lobes in the liver. So this is the liver, this is the left lobe, and this is the right lobe. So this is the first duct that was going to come from the left lobe, and this is the duct that was going to be coming from the right lobe. So both will join together. Now this is called as the bile duct. This is called as bile duct. So here you will have the gallbladder. The duct of gallbladder is called as the cystic duct. So this cystic duct will join this particular structure. So now together, so the cystic duct along with this bile duct, it is called as the common bile duct. Common bile duct. So here there was going to be the pancreas. So the pancreas was going to be present over there. So when it joins together along with the bile duct, now this is called as the hepatopancreatic duct. This is hepatopancreatic duct. Okay, this is here you are going to have the pancreas. So pancreas is the next gland. This is the structure and the ducts of the gallbladder, and here you are going to have a valve. So this valve is called as the sphincter of Oddi. The sphincter of Oddi was going to guard the hepatopancreatic duct. So the next last gland what we are going to learn about the digestive gland is the pancreas. So pancreas is the compound structure. So why it is called as a compound structure? It was going to consist of the two part. One is the exocrine part, another one is the endocrine part. So what do you mean by exocrine? Exocrine is nothing but it is a ducted gland. So this gland was going to have the duct. Okay, the endocrine part. So what is the endocrine gland? Endocrine gland is nothing but it is a ductless gland. So endocrine, they are ductless gland. So what do you mean by ductless glands? They are not going to possess any duct. So their secretion will be directly released into the blood, and their secretions are called as hormone. So this exocrine gland, it is a gland which was going to have the duct. So what is this, what was their secretion called as? It was their secretion of the pancreas is called as a pancreatic juice. So they are going to be alkaline in the nature, and it was also going to consist of the enzymes. And then the endocrine portion was going to secrete the hormone called as the insulin and the glucagon. So insulin is a very important hormone for the digestion, for the metabolism of the carbohydrate. So the deficiency of the insulin hormone can cause the diabetes mellitus.